Welcome back. It's -16 time. A fortnight has passed, and I'm back with Alex, my man.
Nice. Hello.
How are ya?
We're good. We're good. Not as tired as last time we spoke, but still not,
chasing your tail
not
a
out
bit.
of jail. Yeah.
When I was sort of this week, I realised it's podcast week. So where the hell can that 2 weeks have gone to? But they just are flying past at the moment.
They do, don't they? It's just absolutely. And I know we've got this image here. If you're watching us instead of listening to it, but we've got this very pretty image. But if I look down and if I look around me, it's just a mess. It's honestly, there's boxes, there's
stuff everywhere.
I know. I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow there's a new video to work on, and it's just like I've got to take a day or two to just tidy up.
Yeah, I know stuff just goes everywhere. I've had a new slider sent through to me as well, and well, actually, because my first slider was your old slider, if you remember.
Oh yeah, the newer.
It's not working.
Newer.
Yeah, that's it. And you said, see if you can get it working. So I brought it back. I got in touch with them. They sent me one, which I made a video about, and we had a good relationship. Nice. And anyway, within a couple of months, that one stopped working. My new one doesn't work. Sure. So I got in touch with them and said, can you send me a motor? Because I'm sure that's all it is. And they just sent me a new one. So I've got another new slider over there now, another newer slider.
So that's that's sweating the asset, right? From one used one, you got two new ones.
But yeah, exactly that. And I've got a friend who's got a brother who's an electrician, so he's going to see if he can get the other one working as well. But but I don't mean you get these boxes kicking around. You think, oh, we'll get around to that. Honestly, I will do it in just a moment, and that moment never seems to happen, does it?
I know.
I think
unbelievable.
We've got quite a lot to talk about. Now, you and I have gone dark. This sometimes happens. I think people have this image that we're sort of chatting about things all the time. And sometimes we do. Yeah. And then other times when it's busy, it's just like heads down. We're both just churning our stuff out. And that's been the case this last 2 weeks. We haven't spoken at all.
Yeah.
But I think we know there's quite a lot to talk about.
I know you're alive because I see your tweets every now and then. And,
I've been really dead on Twitter as well, haven't I? I've been useless on Twitter. Yeah. There should have been a short that's just gone out on it. I'll schedule it. I tell you what, actually, just jumping ahead of things, I know this is something you and I have discussed, but never discussed it on the podcast. And I know we normally get to the YouTube business later, but point I've just thought of. Yeah. You never put a link directly to YouTube on Twitter because you've always thought that that's a no-no on Twitter. Elon will just stop it down.
Yeah, it was only recently. I have had, videos that I just, after I upload, I share the video. And I got loads of engagement on those. But yeah, since Elon took over, I mean, he did announce it as well. He was quite transparent about what he was doing. He said, I don't want people getting out of the platform. It's
right,
quite,
yeah.
And it's his thing, right? So it's like, okay, can't blame him, right? I would probably do the same. But it does mean if you share a link to anything, Amazon, YouTube, it will get buried. Very few people
just won't get seen. Right.
Yeah, I mean, people who interact with you a lot, your inner circle, if you like, will see it and they'll like it.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to use those links for engagement, I would say don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done it for a long time. I'm thinking what I might do is after a video's sort of burnt and done, even one from a couple of months back, I might just put that on there because I've got nothing to lose then. And if, it happens to get a couple of views out of it, great. But no, I did a short on there, but that was just a direct link into Twitter. It wasn't linked back to YouTube, so.
Yeah, what I started doing was putting the link to the latest video on my profile, on my bio on Twitter, and then putting a little bit of a tease, either a short snippet of the video or a few pictures of the video and say, I've just uploaded this. Link in my bio or whatever.
So rather just a generic link to your channel, you actually put a video specific link. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't put a link in the tweet, but in my profile, people can go in there and click on that.
That's a good, solid plan.
But I think ultimately, I don't think those views do anything from a YouTube perspective. They're not organic, right? You're kind of generating them. But if you get people to search for you and find your video through a search, that's the way to do it.
That's the way. That's what you want, isn't it? Yeah. Well, we'll come back to YouTube business later on. But you and I have both gone out and dolled some cash Google's way.
Yeah, I wasn't going to, but I got so many requests.
I didn't think you were.
Yeah,
I didn't think you were.
I was not even paying attention to reviews and whatever, which, we'll talk about the good and bad about that because I'm already feeling it this week. But yeah, it's
now last year you had the 7, which you didn't really ever unbox, and that's what led around to you lending it to me earlier this year. You said, "Well, I haven't done anything with it."
Yeah, I did one video, maybe 2 videos. Which is for a flagship smartphone. It's really not good, really. I criticize a lot of people for doing that. So I just do one video in return. I do it the wrong way. Right? I just keep it and collects dust, and I think you're doing the same now with a flip. Your flip still here in my office.
I know. Because that thing, well, I think we all know that one. Just no one seemed to make content on that. It just didn't catch on, did it? For whatever reason. No. But this, it turned up like for all of us last Wednesday, Thursday, and it's the first time I've bought a phone direct, a new Android direct from Google. It's a really slick. I mean, that's something I've written about this week. I kind of likened it to buy. It's brilliant, isn't it? And rather than when you get your phone, say, from a carrier on contract, when you're buying direct, I wrote something this week where I likened it to buying a car from a main dealer. You kind of get that handheld little bit of extra juice, don't you? They send you reminders, back up now, do this, all that you can do to get more out of your phone. Whereas when you get it from a carrier, it's very much just like, there's your phone, sign the contracts and off you go. Yeah. Buying it direct, it really does make a difference. It just feels a little bit more special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's, like I said, it's very sleek. It's very easy to do. The trade-offs not the trade-offs, the trade-ins. The trade-in deals used to be so good with non-Apple stuff, but now they're all not worth it to me. I mean, for a joke, for a bit of a laugh, I said, let's put the Pixel 7 Pro and see how much they'll give it, and it was like 340 quid or something.
Really, as bad as that? A year-old phone.
Yeah, so it's not even 50% of the value, right? It's not retaining even 50%. It's bad. And the phone, as you know, is almost unused. So
I think I used it more than you probably.
I'll just give it to someone in my family or sell it privately.
That's what I'm saying to a lot of friends and family now. So look, when your phone comes up for contract renewal, there's a good chance
I'll have one or two knocking around. Yeah.
But of course, this is the first time since the summer I've ever looked into Android, and out of the phones I've used, this has been my favourite. Now, the only one that I've not had any time with at all is your baby, the S23 or the Samsung flagships. So that's something probably, depending how things go, early next year, I should try that out as well.
It's still my main phone. I tried the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I still try every now and then. It's here, but yeah.
I'm halfway through your latest video. I started watching it late last night. I'm halfway through watching your latest one.
Oh, cool. So it's still an absolute beast. I don't know what they're going to do on the S24 Ultra, because that's 2.5 months away now, probably.
Yeah, January it comes out, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I mean, have you had a chance to play with the Pixel yet?
No, literally, it got here yesterday, so I took it out.
Right. So you
did my usual. Yeah, and it's here, and I've got a new little case on it. I just did a case video about it.
What colour was that? Did you get
too early.
The bay blue?
No, I went for so I asked my community this time. I asked, because it was mostly Brazilians asking me for it. So I asked them, what color to go for.
The obsidian. Is that the obsidian?
Obsidian one, the black one. Yeah,
I've been reading the PR
feels
stuff.
Amazing.
Porcelain, bay blue, and obsidian. Yeah, you can tell I've been reading Google all week.
Yeah.
So far,
I was going to go for bay, and I just thought I'll do my community a solid and get what they want. Yeah.
Well, I was up in London with it last week on a family day out, and it was a perfect opportunity. Beautiful blue skies. It was gorgeous. We were up in the Shard, and there was plenty of photo opportunities. The battery on it seems an absolute beast. The only caveat I can add into that is that with my iPhone, of course, I'm using it for satnav and I'm using it to stream music. That's the only two big differences. Outside of that, the phones are used very similarly through the day, and this one still had a huge chunk of charge on it the following morning as well. And it didn't get warm on setup, because when I set yours up in the summer, and I of course had never used Android, I didn't know there was all this Tensor conspiracy and stories going on. I didn't know the Tensor chip was notorious. But this G3, it didn't even get warm on setup. It was really surprising how good the battery was.
It seems pretty solid, yeah. It's early days for me, but I haven't seen any issues at all. I did a few videos like outside, and because I was trying to compare because it's got this noise removal thing, right? That after you record it, you can remove wind noise, and I did a comparison that using a microphone and stuff. So, but I didn't notice any sluggishness or whatever. It was
No,
really, really
it's
good.
on device. I've shown that in a video about the Pixel's just gone up now, actually, in the last hour or so. And I show a clip. I was in Borough Market. If you know London, you'll know Borough Market. It's a hub
Quite
of
a
noise.
busy place, yeah.
Exactly. And I thought it was a perfect chance. So I took the video and then I showed it with it's so, I mean, like yourself, I've spent hours trying to remove sirens, wind noise, all sorts. And it makes it so simple. What we used to have to spend hours notching out on EQ and trying to get rid of, it's just a slider.
Yeah. I've heard it's not going to do a good job if the noise that you're trying to remove is similar frequency.
Yeah.
But if it's something like, a high-pitched noise against a low-pitch, then it's easy to remove. Or even, you don't need to remove it. Sometimes you can just tweak it so that it's only
attenuate it.
Diminish it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I was really frustrated. I was sitting up in this restaurant in the Shard, and right behind me, a baby started crying, and I was with family. And I reached for the phone. I thought, I need to record this. This is perfect. Not to show the baby, just so I've got a baby crying behind me. The bloody baby stopped crying. I was reaching for the phone.
Give it a little kick. Come on, baby.
Exactly. Yeah. Pinch it.
Just pull his dummy out.
Because I was up with my daughter and her mum, and we were celebrating her mum's 60th birthday, and they'd never seen me kind of at work before. And all afternoon, I was taking either pictures or pictures of the pics. And I said, "What are you doing? Why are you burying your phone in a plant pot? Why are you standing on a chair?" It's like, it's kind of what I need to do. What you and I consider as normal.
No, exactly.
I haven't been able to, the best take, I haven't been able to try that yet because I haven't got 6 friends. So I the idea if you've got different people looking up and down. I've not been able to try that yet. Everything else I've tried. And so far, I've been the picture. See, this is the thing. The picture quality between these top 3 phones is good, isn't it? It does come down to preference. I mean, when I looked at the pictures, the blue skies were different on each phone. You could tell the color of a Pixel.
That's the conclusion I'm getting through doing all these comparisons and reviews. I think we got to a point now. I mean, it wasn't the case. I mean, with the 12 Pro Max, the 13, there was still quite a lot of very noticeable differences and advantages and disadvantages. Now the differences are there, but they're so minor, and my conclusion recently has been exactly that. I've been saying, if you're looking for a new phone and you kind of stuck with that brand and you think, well, I only care about battery, display, and camera performance, those 3 things, they are now for me like commodity. They're just like, pick one and it'll be fine. So it is coming down to pick a tool for what's for what's best suited to you, because the brand is those 3 things, which is a lot of people care about. I'll buy a phone because I know the battery will be good. Yeah, they're all so good now.
Exactly.
Same with camera and display.
Yeah, I mean, and if again, if you're a gamer, then maybe I know they've improved their ray tracing list, but you begin to niche down into what you're going to use your phone for most, don't you? And it was clear to me that Apple very much this year went the professional route with the Pro phone. Certainly, they gave it everything. So if you want to use it in a very serious high-end situation, Google have clearly gone the route of stealing AI. We are going to make AI our thing and be brazen about it and shout from the rooftops.
Doubling down on that, and it's good. I mean, that was the case. I mean, I never had Pixels from the original ones, but I know even back then they had really decent computational photography. But with Pixel 6 Pro, which was the first one that I got, that's what I noticed. I mean, the assistant on it was amazing, and the speech to text recognition. I just couldn't believe how accurate and how quick it was.
Have you tried?
It just got better.
I know you haven't had long with it, but if you long press the power button, it reads web pages out to you now.
Yeah, I've tried that, and I tried the closed captioning in the video. Yeah. So I was doing some talking outside, and I noticed the button, so I could just press it, and just again, unbelievable how good that is, how accurate.
And the fact that so much of it is done on device as well. It's quick, super quick. I know there's 2 big features coming later in the year, which is video boost, where they add a load of HDR to it, and night sight. Those are the 2 and they're being done off device, aren't they, at the Google data centers. And of course, now that I'm using Android more this week, I had to buy more storage because you get your 15 gigs free or whatever. That was getting full double, and I was having to delete everything. I thought it's not worth it. And
I think everyone's going that way, right? If you think about it, everyone is going. Just don't give any SD cards anymore. Remember when the phones used to give us an external SD card. No one's doing that, and it's all about use our
Storage
services in the cloud. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is that photos seem to upload a lot quicker to Google Photo than they do to iCloud. The photo app in
a Google Photo.
quicker.
I swear by that, and I guess it depends as well if you're using the original quality. So there's a setting that just make sure, because if you're uploading just it is not the original, then if you want to do something with that photo later, you're going to struggle. Yet it is. I mean, I swear by Google Photos. I mean, even though it's
so quick,
all eggs in a basket, is a basket that you can take with you, to another device later. So I quite like that.
I mean, I've been iCloud all the way and used Keynote. Well, actually, Keynote I don't use a lot. Pages I use a lot. Numbers I use a lot. But suddenly now I'm getting into this Google life. Clearly, being tied to YouTube, they've had something to do with me anyway. But now with the Android phone, and Android 14 on here feels really, really good. I tried it compared to the Nothing phone.
The haptics are amazing as well, right? So nice. I mean, I love the haptics on the S23 Ultra, and I did enjoy the Pixel 7 Pro. But I don't know, they've done something on the Moto Zero or whatever. It just feels really, really good.
And I know it's our podcast. We can promote what we like. You've launched some wallpapers.
I did indeed. Yeah. We'll
I saw
share
that
a link
on
in
Twitter.
the description.
To buy some.
I can give it to you as a promotional.
Yeah, they look really lovely.
Rates.
So what went on about?
Is it going to be?
How did you? It's gone on to yes. How did you go about designing them then?
So there's a chap. I'll share his details with you. It's someone I found on Instagram. They kind of there's different color. There's a color for each of the iPhone colors, and then I added a few personalized ones. But yeah, he's just a kid, and I engaged with him last year to do something. So I did something last year. It wasn't really. I was so bad at promoting stuff, but then this year, it's sold a few. The trick is to put in a video that is gonna do well, right? And then lots of people will see that and buy it. It's great.
They look really, really good. They look really good.
And I think Patrick is. I shared this contact with Patrick, and he used as well. So Patrick Rambles. He's done a lovely wallpapers. Oh, he's already done it.
Right.
Yeah. It's for the iPhone, but it comes with like a MacBook and
it's like a complete
iPad
suite.
And whatever. So you can get different aspect ratios.
Lovely. I saw that on Twitter, and I knew I wanted to mention that to you. So, so far my experience with everything to do with the Google, the Pixel, I'm really, really loving. I mean, I still am an iPhone user, but using that Google, I've really enjoyed using it. The colours on the video, I think natively are probably slightly better than the iPhone. They seem a little bit, I don't know, just seem slightly more real.
Yeah.
It was my take, not as heavily processed in colour. They just look really good.
Yeah, there's some telltales in these devices. Some people can recognize an S23 Ultra footage just because it does tend to over sharpen some things like grass and other things. But yeah, honestly, what I noticed was, and literally it's only been a day and a half with it, right? So it's way too early for me to. But I did notice, some of the stuff because you test so many phones, you get kind of used to what it does. So when I was filming myself with the main camera, and then kind of looked later. If kind of changes the focus between, say, a car and you or whatever, it's a really pleasing transition on the Pixel. They almost mimic, what a camera would do, which I thought was quite nice. It was a nice, I don't know, probably not intentional, I don't know, but it's a nice transition, from in focus to out of focus and vice versa. So I'll test more of that because I don't think the iPhone or the S23 Ultra even. It just goes really quickly to where you want to go. It doesn't transition.
The main camera also, on the camera, not the video, actually also had a really nice, gentle depth of field. It's a nice focus. It just looked that little bit softer in the background. Everything about it so far, I've really enjoyed using. Enjoyed using.
Tell you what, the 15 Pro Max camera though, it's superb. I mean, I was actually in the live stream. I did find one issue with it, which is to do with the bokeh at the back. Depending on the amount of light and depending on what it is. If it's trees, for example, I notice quite a heavy fringing around the trees. And it's not natural. It doesn't look. It looks digital, but other than that, though, my goodness, it's incredible.
I've actually, I haven't made a video about it, but I did write about it. I did made it into a complete professional mobile rig. So it's on a lovely frame. I've got obviously got the XD in it. I've got a mic attached to the frame, the cage that I bought. You know, it's a complete mobile rig. The only thing is you possibly would need external power source to run it if you're using the SSD. Outside of that, though, if you decide to shoot not in log, you could take that rig anywhere. You know, it's just mount on a tripod, and you've got great sound, and you know you've got the mic just in front of you. Yeah, it's a fantastic setup.
I found that using log is going to be useful for us, especially if you're doing like B-roll stuff outside and whatever. You want to add a bit of creativity, but most of the time, even 4K 24 is just really nice.
Do you shoot in 24 on your main camera or 30?
When I'm filming myself, yeah. If I'm doing something, with a product, moving, then it'll be 30 or 60. Yeah.
And talking of products, you were mentioning about your Rode mic that I've seen you using.
Yeah.
You had a story about that and about how you lost an evening as well.
Yeah.
Is that mic as good as it sounds? It looks honestly, a fantastic bit kit.
It's amazing. I'll show you. It comes with 2 receivers and 1 transmitter. So the transmitter you can attach it to the camera.
Yeah.
And then you can go quite far away as well, as long as there's nothing between you and the receiver. Mm-hmm. You can go, I don't know, it's a ridiculous distance. But yeah, I put my own logo on the on the thing. But yeah, you attach it to yourself.
Yep.
And there's this little windshield as well that you screw in it. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. And I am sometimes even scared because it's so windy. You've been here, right? I've been in the fields when I go sometimes. It's really windy, and this kind of completely removes the wind noise, and it's awesome. So I'm more inclined now to not even take my professional camera anymore, just take the mobile,
the Samsung,
and this audio.
Yeah,
and even the coolest thing is it records on itself, so I don't need to even send it to the phone. It's nicer if you do that.
You get a WAV file off of out there. You got a micro SD or something, or you just hook it back up to your Mac.
Exactly, in 32-bit float as well, so it won't clip. Oh my goodness, it's just worth every penny.
How much does that cost?
I think in the UK it's $399 at the moment. So not the cheapest thing, but
if you're going to get a lot of use out of it,
man, honestly, I use it every day. Well, every time I go record outdoors, this comes
and as you say,
me.
With what I was just talking about being a mobile rig, that would be absolutely stunning, wouldn't it? Because you wouldn't need to the mic with you. You could just have that clipped to your shirt.
Exactly. I would have bought it way earlier, but it was out in America first through B&H. And then it was only like a month later that you got it here on Amazon. Definitely recommend it.
But you had a little hiccup when you got back to the studio. The TOS cable.
So I actually on that day I took the professional camera and used this cable to connect the transmitter to it, or the receiver to it, and came back to the studio and got my script ready, sat down and went through it in 45 minutes, which sounds a lot, right? But it's for a 10-minute video, and it took me 45 minutes, which is actually not a bad day.
Some
exactly
days
like an hour 20 sometimes.
Yeah.
But 45 minutes, and went home. Actually, was here still. I went to put the thing to put it onto my AI tool, Gling, and no audio. I was like, oh my god. Those moments when I just want to flip the desk and go home.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do I do? And I was like, okay. So I moaned in my WhatsApp groups and Telegram groups, just bitched about life in general. And then I thought, I'm already here. I wasted my evening, with my family. I'm not gonna. If I go home, I'll just soak or, watch Netflix and whatever. So I just may as well be productive. And so I quickly set up a stream. I did 2 streams actually, one in English and one in Portuguese after that. And it was it was one of those things.
People piss me off. 2 languages, God, just flexing now.
Yeah, but that's going to be a dead skill as well. We'll talk about it in a minute. Right?
Yeah.
Basically, I never regret it. It's one of those. It's like going to the gym. You never regret after you've gone. And live stream for me is exactly that. It's such a buzz connecting to people without a script, right? You're just chatting and letting them ask you questions, and you really get to know each other a little bit better, I feel, because most people are used to us just talking like for those 10 minutes, and it's not conversational. It's, I'm trying to hit those points, and yes, I add a little bit of humor, and you as well. I would kind of have a way of just not being monotonous, but it's still not the same as having a chat.
Because at the end of the day, you're still talking at them, aren't you? Whereas, and as you know, I did it for 10 weeks straight in the summer. I stopped it only because it was one extra thing to do. And again, the channel's not big enough to get a lot of interaction on it. It had regulars there pretty much every week. But I loved it because it took me back to my radio times, because it was just sitting down and talking. It was filling time, which is, I can seemingly do that very simply.
It's a great way to it's a great way to monetize channels, right? If you're starting and you need those 4,000 hours or whatever it is,
yes,
the live streams will count towards those. And
because you did that live this week, so that counted as kind of one of your main videos. Then you decided, because you'd had some problems losing the audio, you just thought, I'll go live. Yeah,
it was one of those things. I was already here, everything was on and ready to go. So rather than sulk, I'll just go live. And and actually it was a decent conversation, because I thought, well, I've got to, even though it's a relaxed chat, let's put some points to talk about. Like, talked about the 15 Pro Max, the S23 Ultra, my experience, the issues that I found, like that bokeh issue that I found, the overheating issue. So it was nice to talk about the plans for the channel as well, because it's obviously that time of the year. They got to think, okay, where do we want to go with the channel? And yes. Always, like I said, don't regret doing it. Always good to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy them. I hadn't thought about doing it as a main video for the week. That's a possible thing that I could do rather than producing a video. I can maybe just decide, right, I'm going to go live this week rather than spending all that time producing it, spending an hour talking and see what happens. That might be a way forward. Yeah,
no, I'm still have to work on a video, because I've got a few sponsors lined up and whatnot. But I thought I'd do. Having done that this week and done a shorter video today, I'm not going to kill myself. If I can get a video out for tomorrow, great. If not, maybe Sunday. If not, Monday.
You had some lovely production in some of your videos as well recently. I do sit and watch those and
thanks.
All the work.
It's a labor of love, right? But it does kill you.
That fire effect you had at the beginning of the 15 Pro Max when you threw the phone over your shoulder, is that quite easily achieved in Final Cut?
Yeah, I think I learned it in Premiere, actually, how to do it. It's green screen. So you can download a fireball with green screen, remove the green, and then it's just like any layer. It could be anything.
Yeah. Because it looked really effective for that sort of effect you had on it. It looked really good.
Yeah.
I was wondering how you went to do that.
The sound effect was something else. But yeah, it's all adding. I mean, sometimes the 15-second intro, right, takes 2 hours to do.
It's so frustrating. Early in the year, I was really enjoying myself working on intros and being creative and kind of all sorts of things. So I did my Steve Jobs thing of biting the glasses. I had all these plans, and then it just wasn't getting. It was almost as if it was wasting that 15 seconds. So now I've decided to go for a very flat kind of, like, directly to it, get to the hook very quickly and try and deliver on the title. Bang. I'd like to do it. I'm just not. I can't be vain enough just to do something to please myself, because it's not going to work. So I'm just trying to actually do what I need to do.
Yeah, I think I've found a balance, because that is what I enjoy doing. And I always, for maybe 200 videos, I always had the intro, the fancy intro at the beginning. But if you look at the stats, you see straight away you lose from 100% to 60, in the first 3 seconds. Yeah. Because that people are just get me to the content. So now I do, all right, let's hook you, and then then do an intro, and then go back to the hook or go back to the content. And so I think it's a nice balance. So people I'm invested now. That's definitely the video I want to watch, and then there's a bit of visual pleasing. And then
so hook them in first. Yeah, it's something I'm going to get back to. I just need to sort of, get my feet under the table a bit more, and then I'll do the odd bit to please myself more. At the moment, I'm just trying to do what I know I need to do to make the video as good as I possibly can.
I even kind of compromised a little bit on the monetization by using commercial songs as well, because it's the other thing, right? It's just I'm so bored with all these.
Generic.
Epidemic. I love Epidemic sounds, but I'm so bored with their with their library. So I just thought, use some proper.
I did
commercial
use
songs.
Licked during the summer once. It was
I
pretty
used it
straightforward.
today, actually. I used it
Oh, did
today.
you?
Yeah.
They're reasonably straightforward, aren't they, to use? I
Yeah,
think it was the approval process I had, because you have to send them your link for them to verify that you're using it
I
in
don't
that
even
video
stress
only, don't you?
anymore. Yeah, I like today. It was copyright claimed straight away, but then
It'll be lifted.
through their system they lifted. But yeah, I just didn't worry, because before I used to stress because I thought
Waiting to upload.
a copyright claim means my video is not going to do anything. But turns out it's all fine.
And as a rare groove and soul aficionado and former presenter, you can imagine how much it hurt me to pay Spandau Ballet for bloody gold. This someone on a video, it was stuck in my craw. I thought I started thinking, oh no, I'm not giving Tony Hadley money for this. Am I really?
Yeah.
Needs must, A moment ago, you mentioned the sponsor word. So let's get back to a little moment that you and I had 2 weeks ago. So it was a moment.
We tried to gloss over it, but yeah, you're kind of, oh my God, what just happened?
I think I deserve an Oscar nomination, because we were sitting chatting like we are now live.
No, I could sense it was like, oh my God, yeah, he just wants his over now.
Yeah. Because I told, I said, I think I'm the first sponsor, and immediately you heard it. .cz, you should be worried. So that night, I didn't do too much other than drink a lot of wine. Then the next morning, I got up to begin editing the podcast. And the first thing I noticed because you and I talked a bit afterwards, and you kind of said the things that to look out for and the basics of what to do. I went into the studio and my iMessage needed signing into, and immediately I'm thinking, oh shit, that doesn't look good.
Yeah. That is a massive telltale that someone is buggering
Trying
about.
to. Yeah. So the first thing I did, I knew it was going to be a ball ache, was change my Apple ID. Now, again, it was probably all for the good, because my ID was too straightforward. It's like we all do, have it for years. So I've now created a strong password.
David 123.
This is my birthday on everything. So I've actually created a good strong password now, and it's in it's kept in Apple's password keeper, so that's nice and secure and safe. Okay, it meant I had to sign into absolutely everything. Oh, okay. Well,
no, I'm joking.
It goes on and on. No, but I mean, obviously you told me live, and I was like, oh no, what am I into? So that's the first thing I did, and then from there I've spent a lot of time. I think what they were after, and talking to you, and also I know iCave Dave watched our last video. I know you mentioned that because he sent me a message saying, listen to this podcast, and there was a podcast that was out there that was the exact scam that I got taken. But everything they said not to do, I did. They hooked me in perfectly, because those letters you get that were normally really badly written, now of course ChatGPT, they're perfect.
Gosh, you get some amazing emails from China. It's like, your English is better than mine. What the hell?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So they're explaining how, and also this same scam, if your channel and if the creator's big enough, they set up a Zoom call. So they bring in supposed creative directors and everything to sit and chat with you. They actually put faces to it. And from what I can gather, they're trying to take your Google channel hostage, or, your Apple ID, whatever. That's what they're after. Now, thankfully, it's been 2 weeks now, and everything, I haven't had any damage done. I got onto it quickly. I've put Google 2FA on as many different things that I use as possible. Yeah. I've spent time this week with my web developer. He's put a load of stuff into WordPress to make that more secure. So everything is much better locked down now. So I think it was a shot across the bows I needed to warn me, because like you, I spend a lot of time online, and that makes us very vulnerable. Yeah, and I've kicked myself 1,000 times for how stupid I was. But when this other podcast described how elaborate it was, I fell for it. And there was one thing that I should have looked at and I didn't, and of course I freely admitted it. It was the vanity of thinking I've got a sponsor.
If it's too good to be true, it's one of those things. Double, triple check, and I know you actually check the company or something, but they make it so. So believable, right? And of
course, all the links in the first email all linked to Fiji Water. It all seemed to correlate. But of course, that anyone can do that. I now realise it was I was caught up in the moment. Yeah, it was horrible. And I was sitting here recording with you, and I was just thinking, how much damage have I done? I think because
it was one of those things. It reminded me of work, because sometimes I get pulled in to deal with some of the situations for organisations, and it's oh my God, no.
And I'm normally pretty careful. And I think that the only things possibly that saved me was, I think possibly that I had a level at least, because I had my telephone number attached to the Google account for logging notes, so if you get notified. So I think once they had a quick route around, and found that this wasn't. I'm not big enough for them to put in any effort. I think, you know, if I was bigger, they would have spent more time on me and got through me. But they must have looked in. This isn't worth their time. Let's move on. Yeah. And I think
I'm pretty sure that's how Linus got done as well. Not. Yeah, it was sometime last year, I think.
Yeah, and that's and Prosser got done as well, I believe. And you wonder. I mean, they've been in the game a long time and must have seen it all.
Yeah, those people have, you know, there's got dozens of people working for them as well. So it's, you know, there's so many entry points, which was
it just takes one person.
One of his employees. Same thing. It was a looked like a, you know, decent sponsor. Just clicked on something, downloaded it, and you know, initially you might think, oh, nothing happened, you know, nothing downloaded, nothing worked. But then they've got keyloggers and they've got all sorts of things that can just sit and watch you work, right, for weeks. And that's a scary bit, because it's like, how do you know?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm not screaming from any rooftops at all. I mean, I hope it's not a case of having bolted too late, and I also hope I'm too small to really worry about. Most of my banking's done on my phone, luckily. You know, so
Macs are pretty good as well for that sort of thing. You know.
I think that was the other thing that saved me. I was on a Mac, which helped a bit, and I had basic levels of security in place. You know, I don't know. I'm not saying it's brilliant or anything, and I'm not paid by them at all, but I do clean my Mac, and I run the malware checker on that every day at the moment, just to check. I know it's not the best out there, but it's something. It's at least being proactive. It's all I can do. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, hoping that it looks like I'm out of the woods. Nothing has been odd.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the lesson learned here is, you know, what they're doing is no longer as we used. I mean, back in early 2000s, and, you know, kind of when we used to work on computers all the time, it was about viruses, right? You just malicious software. Now it's about social engineering. You know, what they were doing with you. You know, just collect as much information as possible from you, and then they go for the attack. But yeah, I know, just for anyone listening there, just be mindful, right? If you're getting those emails and it's like there's a link on it, maybe just hover before you click on it. And even then, I would say never click on any links or through an email.
The point you made was exactly right. If it seems too good, walk on. And that's very much now. But unfortunately, that even rubbed down this week. Funny enough, from MacPaw and Clean My Mac, they sent me a link this week to want to be part of, they wanted me to promote and be involved with their, I've forgotten when you have all the apps, app set. And of course, it just comes through on the back of this scam. And I looked at it, I just deleted it. And then they resent the email this week, and I looked at, no, I have dealt with this man before. It is genuine. It is from MacPaw. But of course, I was so burned. I've just been deleting everything, you know, but better that than be burnt again. You know, that's
just, exactly. Just double check on LinkedIn, double check everything. Just make sure that whoever is emailing you is a real person. And, you know, and if you in doubt, just maybe, don't
that's part of what you do for a day job, isn't it?
It's part of it, yeah. I mean, I don't always deal with that. Most of my engagements are kind of architecture based, but there was one. The last one was, I don't know, 2021, when I had to go into a company. I won't mention them here, but their main client was one of the top 4 banks in the UK, and they were hacked in a way that it was. They were like, it was a ransomware. Remember when the NHS got hit?
Yes.
You know, they're basically like, you know, you have to either pay some ridiculous amounts in Bitcoin to get your, and it's never guaranteed you're going to get it back, or or just lose everything. And they lost everything. You know, some stuff we were able to recover through backups, but it's bad, right?
I know one other person. I don't know the full details. It's one other person, quite reasonably high profile in the space that we got in, and he sent me a message one day just saying, if you get a message asking about me, so he obviously, the way he worded it, it was clear that he'd been attacked by ransom. You know, he's online a fair bit, and I'm thinking now, obviously, he'd had a similar kind of thing where he thought he was, you know, being taken as a virtual hostage. Kind of, it's just horrible. Yeah. And then, of course, the next week, I just spent everything I was doing on my Mac thinking, are they watching me? Are they looking at me? What should I be wary of? Yeah, it's just horrible. It just makes you feel grubby to the core. Yeah. Okay, it's my fault. But the only slight saving grace I have is I wrote about it on Medium, and I earned $500 from it so far.
There you go.
So I did manage to turn it around to that. A little bit. I did manage to turn it around a
Silver
little
lining.
bit. Yeah, exactly that. So we were talking about YouTube and security. So what kind of measures do you put in place to secure your channel then? Because obviously you've got you've been in it longer. B, you've got some actual practical knowledge of what is the best ways. How do you protect your channel?
Well, secure passwords is the first thing, right? And I actually use a product. I won't mention here because it will sound like a sponsor, but yeah,
But
I use it very
use a password keeper.
A password manager, yes, and I've used them for, I don't know, more than 5 years, since 2018 probably. So yeah, they're really good, and so that's the one, right? Because I don't even know what the password is. They generate this really strong one, and it will take millions of years to decrypt.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, right? But then there's obviously multi-factor authentication. I haven't got the physical. Some people even go an extra step, which is get like a physical dongle thing.
Physical key. Or, yeah.
I don't do that. I just use the Authenticator app. I don't use SMS as a verification method because that is secure, but is not foolproof. You know, you can't get that. I think Linus did get done through an intercepted SMS, because SMS is not encrypted, right? It's just
exactly
clear text.
Open.
So,
yeah. I mean, because now my business bank, whenever I log in, and I always used to swear about it. 2 weeks ago, every time it popped up, got to go and do 2FA. I was like, oh, really? Now, of course, I'm thinking, bring it on, whatever. Because they actually send a message within their own banking app, and you have to log into your app which is a much more secure way to go. Because you're getting it from the source. You've got to go into your bank with your passwords and your Face ID to get to that port. So the more they can do to secure it. Well, how much is PKeys going to help this situation, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of them. The thing is, just do your research, because there are a few of those that actually themselves got hacked. So
what, PKeys?
No, that's a Apple thing, right? Or is it like a
protocol? This whole protocol change is going from passwords to PKeys now, isn't it? Google in it and Apple in it. It's meant to be a lot more secure.
It's like a password manager in itself, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I was mentioning. Yeah, I thought you were talking about a brand. There's a brand that sounds like passkey, but it's not. I think it's anyway. Just do your if you're not using anything and you want to kind of get one of those, just do your research, because some of those password managers themselves are not the most secure. So
something else this other podcast I was listening to said, on your reclaim email that you've got on your YouTube channel, you should have an email that you've never ever used in public. No one knows it, which
exactly
sounds...
and I have that as well. Yeah, so I have a secondary email address attached to my, so set them as a manager of the channel. But yeah,
that's one thing I haven't done yet. Actually,
that address shouldn't be known.
Yeah, that's one area. But the 2FA, I think it was all last Friday night, actually going through as many of the sites that I use, putting on an authenticator. Twitter, even WhatsApp, all of them now. Certainly WordPress, you name it, they're all now on 2FA, and of course the Google account as well.
It's scary, right? 'Cause when you think about it, there are millions of bots out there. And there are websites. I'll put a link on the website just for curiosity. If you want to see what the internet looks like on a second by second basis from a cyber attack perspective, it's scary. It's literally every second there are thousands of attempts of breaking into things. And if there's anything facing the internet, like any computer at home, you can guarantee that IP address will be getting hit by. Bad guys. Yeah.
Do you run any kind of virusware on your Macs or not? Antivirus?
No. I don't do that. I just use a VPN. I use that, but no virus stuff. No.
Now, the other thing I was going to talk about, I wasn't able to find the press release. I've heard that there are some changes coming to YouTube, the app itself, and they sound quite interesting. It sounds like there's a noise button or something. So when you've got videos that are really, really loud for no reason at all, it sounds like there's almost going to be this compressor added on, which just flattens everything. I don't really know the details of it. It sounds like from a user point of view, not necessarily from a creator point of view, there's a load of changes coming for the experience of viewers,
Okay.
which sounds, from what I gather, as if they're really aimed at trying to make, again, if a creator says subscribe and like, apparently the word like glows on the screen to encourage the viewer to actually, get past the apathy and click like
I
and
like
subscribe.
that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Again, it's coming down to this whole idea of listening to everything that we're saying. So I was looking desperately to try and find the blog before we start recording. I can't find it, but if I do, I'll let you know the link. But you're also talking about the way AI and voicing over effectively, which is pertinent for you, obviously, your Brazilian channel, which at the moment is doubling your work. You were saying that could be really smoothed out and streamed down.
Yeah. So I was listening to a lady, you probably know her, called Cleo Abram.
Really good.
She's awesome, right? She's
fantastic.
Came from Vox. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, awesome content, and she was talking about how dubbing content is becoming so easy. I mean, there are apps out there already, and you can use them. I think that there's a free one out there already that you can chuck your video in there, tell it a language that you want to do it, and it will even do your mouth movements so that it will look like you're talking in that whatever language, Hindi, Japanese, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Obviously, for me, I'd still have to do some work because the content for Brazil, there's some cultural changes, right? So if I'm just talking about a product, then that's probably okay. But if I'm talking about why you should buy one and why you shouldn't buy, there's an element of it won't translate, and there's jokes as well that won't translate and things like that. But
exactly. Yeah.
It's still incredible. I mean, it's still amazing. And YouTube, and she also said that YouTube themselves are doing something very soon, which will do a similar thing, but you won't do the mouth. You would just dub. So, but it's going to be your voice.
Yeah.
So it could be like talking English and it will translate to Spanish in your voice, which is awesome. So I asked my community in Brazil, because in that live stream that I did the other day, I said, the reason I don't do a lot of videos in Portuguese is because, the main channel still funds everything, is where all the sponsors are. So I have to prioritize the main channel, right? And they said, well, why don't you just dub it? And a lot of people, I think I had about nearly 2,000 people at one point. It was quite a popular stream. And they were all saying, just dub it. Maybe not every single video, but we'd rather have the content. So I was like, okay, that's less work for me to do. And if there's some AI that can do it for me, even better. But
just a point, you said that it could reproduce your voice.
Yeah.
What's to stop somebody else cloning your voice?
Yeah. So actually, Cleo did mention that. So that is a danger, and I think people are doing that already. I mean, the people using like Joe Rogan and Mr. Beast was a recent one, giving away stuff, and then obviously because a lot of that audience, especially Jimmy's audience, will be kids. You can see a lot of people falling for that, right? And just adding whatever number it is that he's saying. Just add this number to your WhatsApp and whatever. It's like, oh my god.
Well, again, we still about big. Well, it ties back into that, doesn't it? The more you're online, the more you're open to, because you and I, voices and faces are online. If anyone wanted to take the time and effort to clone our voices, I'm guessing it'd be easy enough to do. There's enough data out there for them to do what they want.
Any technology, right? There's always amazing ways that you can use it, and then there's always someone will always find a negative way of putting it to do harm.
When I was up in London, we were talking about AI, and I was basically all for it. But I said, I'm sure there's going to be some dark days. Clearly, there's going to be very nefarious uses for it. That's not to say that it's not a good thing. And let's face it, the horse is bolted anyway now. It's there. What our future's going to be, what we're all going to end up doing, because everything's going to be automated. That's for another podcast, probably beyond our brain and pay grade. But I mean,
the scary thing is, so Colin and Samir, they were interviewing one of the people at YouTube.
Yes, I saw some of that. Yes.
So they asked, one of the questions they asked him was, and one of the questions they asked him was, what are you going to do about this? This people faking, it's not even deep fake, it's just, very shallow fake. And he didn't really have an answer for it. It's one of those things, it's like scary, because anyone could create a new channel with our face and voice, just say whatever you want. And really scary.
And talking about tech, I'll take my hat off to you for your audio ears being on point. I woke up to a message. In fact, it was last Sunday when I was out, because I didn't get back to you because I was out in London and I didn't get a chance to look at the messages. But you wrote this message saying, your audio is just another level. And I think you were thinking I'd done something really clever and really special. And in actual fact, it's the opposite.
I thought you
really
got
lazy.
a new mic. I thought, my gosh, you invested in a new mic or something. Yeah, it's really good.
I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. There's a bit of software that Alex and I use. We record this in Riverside for a number of reasons, but it's just a good bit of software. Not sponsor paid, it's all bought and da 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 da. Anyway, basically, it's uplifted to the servers their side. And part of what happens when you go to download the file, it asks you if you want to normalize the audio and remove noise and add some sparkle. It's AI. I was sitting the other day and I'm thinking, you know what? I fancy recording my actual long form video into Riverside. Downloading it, it will give me shorts, which it does automatically, called magic clips. It will AI goes through, finds all the bits that they think would make interesting clips of various lengths from 15 seconds to 60 seconds. It does all that for you. It gives you the captions, and it downloads the audio in this fantastic, whatever magic. So all I do is now, and again, if I'm recording, as you just said, 40, 50 minutes, my Canon recording 4K 24 will cut after 29 minutes. Into Riverside, I can, like we're doing now, I can sit and talk for as long as I want. It's never going to cut out. And I just suddenly, when you sometimes think of things, you think, I must be overlooking something. That sounds too simple. I've done it for the last few videos now, and it's brilliant because whatever they're doing to make, our voices will be on this when it's put out, will have come downloaded, and I would have said, tick the box, yes, do your magic. And it's just made this ordinary Audio Technica that's sitting up there at the moment sound, as you say, sound like I just spent
brilliant. It was
hundreds on a
honestly,
Sennheiser.
I did think you actually invested in new hardware.
Yeah,
and that's one of the good things about AI, because I'm pretty sure they're using something like, Adobe has a similar service.
Yeah, they've got something called Podcast, Adobe Podcast. It's called.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, right? You can have like noisy audio, and it will come down cleaned up. It was amazing. And I remember I actually did like 3 years ago, a short video explaining how to do that in Audition, because it's something I had to do for every single video. I had so much static and just the room noise was so bad where I was. Now you don't need to do that anymore, right? Kids these days is like trying to start a channel these days is so easy because there's so many
slider
cool tools. On
the Pixel. Just get with, but that's the thing. The Adobe Podcast feature is good, but you can only do a 10-minute clip, and it does take quite a long time to process, and it is up in the cloud, so it's not local, so it's quite slow. I used it actually in the video. It's just gone up where I did a bit of the showing how good it is at speech to text, but I thought when I was recording it, I wanted a good mic, so I was in my other podcast studio using this mic. No, tell a lie. It was the phone audio. And I just sent the phone audio to Adobe Podcast. It came back sounding beautiful, So awesome. It's all there to use. And in the new release of Premiere, they have got enhanced speech in it. So that is now native in Premiere Pro. So where I've always been really envious, you've got, what's the one for making a voice sound really good in Final Cut? There's a noise remover you've got. There's one tool that you always use. Yeah,
there's
voice isolator, isn't it? Isolator.
Yeah, voice isolation. Yeah, that's it.
You showed me that, and I've just been so envious. It's almost the one thing I wanted to go to Final Cut for, but now Premiere sort of got there with this. It's called enhanced speech, and it's just a slider, and it will just So it's all, again, it is all AI. So I think we've kind of covered everything we need: the good, the bad, the ugly.
What are you working on? What's coming up next?
Well, my video's just gone up about Pixel 8. So I was going through as much as I could learn about it in a week, and the bits I like to use, where I sit on the whole AI thing. And before we go, the one thing I tried it on removal. I had it's over on my desk, other desk behind me. It's an old family photograph, right, from when my daughter was about 6. My mum was still with us, so it's got a lot of memories to it. And I tried just moving something in the background, not a person, and it did a fine job. But my point was, because that picture has got a lot of years of memory attached to it, it just felt wrong. I think it's a new picture you're taking now, and you're making that memory now. But ones that are older and have got historic personal value, I don't think they deserve touching. I could probably go and make that photo look 10 times better now with colour and getting rid of dust and all sorts. But that's not what that photo's about. It's not meant to be perfect.
No,
it's taken in a farmyard. It
was that photo even taken with a smartphone?
No, it's taken with this little Sony point and shoot thing.
Yeah, I said that there's a lot of character and things that that they're, like I said, that they're memories in that way. And I think that's that's a valid point in there. If I took a photo of a physical, kind of got processed it, and it's like all the flaws of it would just be part of the memory, right?
Exactly.
But I think it's useful if you're taking a photo. Today, if you're taking a photo with a smartphone, or even if you took a photo with a smartphone last year, and there was some people that are not smiling or people, the one that I'm built on the fence, and I'd love to know what people think on this, is if there's someone that couldn't make it to the event, and it's a really big event, it might be a wedding, it might be and you want that person to be there, which I remember doing this with my father-in-law once. It's like, oh, can you just put this chap in there, because it was like hours on the Photoshop trying to, because I don't have the skills. But beside the point, I don't know, in that scenario I just think, well, it just wasn't there. So but if that person was there and it was just a case of picking another image that made it look better, I'm okay with that. I think that's cool. I think that's better.
No, exactly. I think it's definitely got its place. So that's my video for the week. Next ones might be comparing the 15 and the 8 together. Also, Nothing have now got back in stock their CMF products, the $60 smartwatch. Another set of they've got a set of buds that come out. But did you get a freebie with your Pixel? Were you too late for that offer?
No, I didn't get anything with it. Just a phone. Yeah.
I went for these buds, mate. They sound fantastic. They sound really good. Pixel Buds Pro, they sound really, really good.
Nice.
Really good. And they got a lovely fit. They sit very flush to the ears and everything. Really impressed with that. And
I never tried them before. Okay.
Oh, they're really, really impressive. I was really taken by them. So I'm going to, obviously tomorrow's just a case of putting the podcast together. And what are you working on?
I'm working on quite a few things, but the one that I want to finish for this weekend is a video about, it's more like a thought piece. Every now and then I do a video that is not a review, it's just me talking about what I think about certain things. So this one is going to be how not to get stuck in an ecosystem, because I've lived through it in the last year, and I know how hard it is to move away from a in my case it was an Apple ecosystem, and now I've kind of saw the reverse, trying to introduce an iPhone into a predominantly Android mess
flow,
so it's kind of a so there's
that'd been interesting.
That was enough in there. It should be good, but it's just, I think it's a 17-minute video so far, and it's just I don't fancy the edit of it, because it's yes, it's going to feature some products, but it's not like I can just shoot B-roll the normal way I do.
No, it's got to be a talking head, it's virtual direct.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
Editing this week, I know we must wrap up, but editing this week's video was tricky for me, because I realised, and you would have been there when you're listening back, you repeated, I was repeating details a lot, and it just becomes boring, and you've got to, but then it's a case, it needs to go, but you're trying to find the points to cut it where it doesn't seem too obvious that but I just realised I was repeating
in the middle,
yeah, exactly that, so it's like, right, B-roll there, let's cover all that up. And
I actually love when that happens. So it's like, okay, I can remove this 30 seconds here. I love when that happens, but try to remove that in the script, I think.
But also, this talk to text now, I'm sure you could dictate a script onto this phone almost flawlessly.
Oh, that's what I do.
Typing.
That is what I do, yeah. My script goes first in the Pixel. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Is the speech to text better on the Pixel than your Samsung?
100%, and the iPhone. The iPhone did better though. I mentioned that in my latest video. It has got better, like noticeably better, but not as, when it comes to punctuation and understanding that there's a new sentence starting or whatever. The Pixel is just incredible in any language. Well, at least in 2 languages. Awesome.
Yeah, Mr. Bilingual over there. I still haven't forgiven you. And the final thing. We're supposed to be able to drop the word "hey" now and just say it's. I'm not having a lot of luck with that. It kind of
really. Yeah.
I've got a HomePod in the kitchen, and it just does not want to know. I was
trying to say in theory the other day in my video, and it kept piping up. I was like, I'm not even saying your name.
Love it.
But yeah, I guess it sounds like it.
Right, we've kept promising we're going to wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. Don't forget, if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, do all the nice stuff for us. We'd love to know what you think about it. And do get in touch. You'll be very shy. Get in touch. Let us know what you think about.
Share this with your WhatsApp groups.
You
and
do
whatnot.
it. Yes, get it out there. We love making this, and it'd be nice to know what you want us to chat about. So
Yeah, that's the best way to support. Cheers, man. Bye.
lovely. Great seeing you again, Alex. See you in a couple of weeks.